Hey guys, my name's Steph, I'm Botanist Cool, and today I am here with the super knowledgeable and like lore-driven super master of Ace Attorney, everything about it. She knows every minor fact that has ever happened in any piece of Ace Attorney media, Katie.
I've never led you astray, not even once, not even a million times.
I hope you guys are ready, because we are starting the next the next game, which is Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Now, I was talking to Katie about this before. I had played through the first two games when I was in college, so a lot of it it was buried in my memory, right? So sometimes it would be like boom, I got it. I only played, I think, part of the first case for Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, which the only thing I remember about it is hemorrhoids.
Again, it's unfortunate. So this game in particular has a couple of things that are kind of just like, I don't understand why you're putting this in here. Mm-hmm. Ace Attorney can be dicey like that sometimes, but overall, I think all the good plot points outweigh all the bad or weird or uncomfortable stuff.
All the Dr. Hotties. Hey there, Chip.
Yeah, like for example, Ace Attorney, like the last case, for example, has Dr. Hottie, right? But also, it's my favorite case because of everything else is just so good.
Let me give a quick shout out to AJ, my best friend and amazing emote artist. Check them out, please, and thank you.
Hey, AJ.
Yeah, are you ready to go, Katie?
I am.
All right. Oh shit! That's what's happening. Okay, I do vaguely. We are playing as Mia.
Heck yeah.
Let's fucking go. Was she wearing shorts or a skirt? I didn't see that. I just saw them.
It's like, yeah.
Okay. Huff, huff. Rain. I don't know who this is. How did I get into this mess? Why? Why did I do that? Oh shit, it's Phoenix. That girl, you shouldn't see it anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I gotta sound like a little snooty Phoenix. I'm telling you, for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's gonna be bad news. You're lying! Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that! Now you're murdered, ha! Who's big man now? Isn't this the beginning? It looks like it's a past thing, yeah. It looks like this is like in a few years in the past. It wasn't me! I didn't! I didn't do it! Yeah, this is like, how many years in the past is this, Katie? 5 years earlier.
There you go.
This is Mia's second trial?
Yep,
oh damn,
second
alright.
Trial. Ooh, it's finally time. I'm kind of nervous. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, good morning.
Mia, calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know?
What are you talking about? I'm relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Grossberg, look at me. I'm relaxed.
Let go of my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer.
I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today.
Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never fear, my dear. I, Marvin Grossberg, am at your service.
Actually, this is my second time in court.
Still, you're surprised with your earnest request last night. Let me handle this case, you suddenly said, and quite forcefully, too.
I just found out yesterday, about the case I mean.
Valid, Chip, valid. TTS. Oh, thank you for telling me to take TTS off. Thank you. I'm going to do that real quick so people don't put in TTS. Oop, thank you. What? And you've already learned all the relevant facts?
Well, about that, you see, I mean, of course I have, I think.
Oh dear. In any case, don't let our client see you so nervous. You see the poor man in that pink sweater over there? That absolute loser who seems like he lost his only friend years ago? That's our client. Good morning there, everyone.
Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia.
I want to say I'll give it all I've got. Yep, I'll be fine. No prob. Cough. Shut up. God, are you sick, buddy?
Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something, Mr. Rye?
Actually, it's right. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw that up all the time. And yes, I have a cold. That's what I'm wearing this mask for. Hey, America. Can we talk for a moment? Hey, airlines, can we talk for a moment?
How relevant.
My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says. Hey, GOP, you want to talk a moment?
Right, Mr. Wright, you have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you.
Please, let go of my shirt, got you?
That's right, he's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous.
As you're like strangling this poor man.
You need to stay strong for your client, Mia.
That way you could chokehold him.
My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new at this lawyer thing. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. That trial traumatized me so badly, I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom.
Oh, damn.
It's been 1 year since then, and well, here I am again. But this time I'm going to win. For my client, and for myself.
Payne is back, let's go! The most honest prosecutor! Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. Thankfully, I'll never have to hear this name in the future ever again.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor! Does he have a ducktail? The defense today is Miss Mia Fey, was it?
Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem?
I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was going to be leading the defense.
Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency.
An emergency? But isn't that him standing right there next to you?
Yes, well...
You're just a rookie. You sure you can handle this?
Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Of course, Your Honor. I think.
Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please. Wow! I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It'll all be over soon. Me and my horrible ducktail will take you down.
What is that all about? Was he trying to trash talk me?
Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. That's funny. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology. Sounds like he was a bright young man. Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime.
students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body. And the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway, they called the police. That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence.
Ivy. Oh, that's funny.
By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. Hee hee hee! Your reputation for
What's that word? Sagacity?
I feel like it's like sage-acity or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Is that a real word? Hold on, this is important. Let me look this up real quick. It is a real word. It means the quality of being sagacious. Fuck you, Oxford Dictionary. What do you mean it's the quality of being sagacious? Hold on, let me look up sagacious now. Having or shown sagaciousness. No, I'm kidding. It says having or shown keen mental discernment or good judgment. Shrewd. All right.
Okay.
Your reputation for sagacity has well earned, Your Honor. The truth is, this victim died a rather unusual death.
An unusual death?
What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question.
Huh?
A simple question. I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I am a genteel man, if you will.
A what? Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of.
Perfect opportunity. Well, what was it? The cause! Go on. Please say you know at least this much.
I'm so sorry. I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file.
My hemorrhoids are beginning to act up. Now, see here. The details of the case are... that's the voice I want to go from. The details of the case are filed under the court record. But you knew that already, didn't you?
Ah, the court record. I think I can see that by pressing tab.
Fatal electric shock at 3 p.m. How simple some of these autopsy reports end up being in the very beginning of the game. Yeah, he died because of how Payne talks, exactly.
All the weapons we can be found in the court record. Take a good hard look at that data there and think carefully before you answer, my dear.
Yes, sir. I'll do just that. I've got to stay calm. I can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. The court record. Okay, let's take a look. I just pressed tab. Here.
Now then, would the attorney or the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death? Electrocution.
According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution.
Electrocution? But how could such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of new super powerful stun gun, perhaps? The answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor. But before that, there is one more vital issue.
What's that?
Why, motive, of course. Apparently, there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant. Bad blood?
What do you mean?
Oopsie, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this.
I really don't like this guy's smug attitude.
What about his voice?
Sucks.
That's what's the pain for you. He's a smooth operator, if you catch my drift. They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know. Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and his defendant? And this time, I would like to see some supporting evidence.
Evidence?
No need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all of our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need and then shove it in old Greybeard's face.
Yes, sir. Into old Graybeard's face.
Mr. Grossberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing in the court record. People's profiles are as well. You can talk between profiles and evidence with...
I'm giving him the judge's voice now. God damn it. What was his voice before like?
It's more like fidgety because of his mustache, how it keeps moving.
Oh, she, yeah, okay, I was recognizing like a she voice. All right, I see where I wanted to go before. Okay, you can toggle between the profiles and the evidence with tab, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you've got. What was the cause of the bad blood between Phoenix Wright and the victim?
Mr. Grossberg, Phoenix Cold. The victim, he was a fourth-year pharmacology Ivy student. Phoenix Wright's girlfriend dated the victim, Doug Swallow. That's probably him. And the prosecutor of this trial, a veteran lawyer with a little too much confidence. All right, we're gonna present Dahlia Hawthorne.
The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here.
Dahlia Hawthorne, isn't it? Very good, Miss Faye! You seem to have picked up at least on that much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly, she has some part to play in this story.
You know, I love how loose this is because it's very much like, yes. This person dated another person 3 years ago. They must have been involved somehow. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, to be fair, it is not 3 years ago, but
yeah, but you kind of get like the drift of what I'm going with. Like, it's just funny. She just promised pizza, didn't get it. Yeah, she promised pizza, didn't get it. Yeah, exactly. She didn't give the pizza to Mia, who didn't give it to Pearls.
He's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well, Mr. Bain. Please call your first witness. If it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? The defendant himself? Well, Miss Faye?
it's fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? The defense has no objection.
Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes. My name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now I guess I'm a suspect.
No. He means, what did you do before you were arrested?
Oh, that's true. I was a university student.
Mr. Wright, you understand that you are suspected in the death of your fellow suicide,
But I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. I was. That sounds like me when I was going through that thing a year ago.
Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his code to the rest of us?
It seems the witness has something he wants to say.
Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about your relation to the victim.
Right away, Your Honor. They make his face look so young, but his body like has the same. Like his face looks a little younger.
I mean, he isn't. Yeah, he's in college, right?
Right.
So like, he still has to have that like build, but also he's baby.
It's so wild. Like, I don't.
Also, he's baby.
Like, I don't know how they did it, but he looks younger, but I can't tell why he looks younger. Does that make sense?
There's a couple of things that they do. One of them is they make his spikes shorter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his spikes are a little shorter. I think they might also make his eyes a little wider.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
I'm not sure though.
That would make sense.
And also, like, just look at his face. He's baby.
I mean, I can't see half his face because he's being responsible while sick.
But just look at his, like... Can you imagine current Phoenix making that sort of, like, cheerful? Like, maybe a little bit. Like, nervously, but not genuinely.
No, yeah, for sure. This is naive Phoenix. I admit I was there, but I'm not the killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. Oh, damn, I have to do a British voice for him? If I ever get
he's dead.
Well, no, I know, but like, are we gonna get like a flashback where I have to do a British voice for him and be like, "Oi, it's me, Doug Swallows." You know, it is. I'm going to get killed by every Brit I know. I see. So you hardly knew the victim.
They're still here to kill you.
Oh, they'll kill me eventually. Do not worry. Right, like I said, I'm not the killer.
Phew, looks like the judge understands.
You're being naive, you know. Too naive.
Huh?
Hee 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 hee.
I mean, if my hair wobbled like that, I would play off it. I'm not gonna lie, but like, I hate how much the hair wobbles. It is the worst thing.
It seems you've forgotten one small thing, young lady.
And that would be...
This witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination.
Cross-examination?
He's right, and it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose of it is to determine if the witness's testimony contains any contradictions.
Contradictions?
If the witness is lying, their statement will conflict with the court record.
Court record? But Mr. Wright is my client.
If he's your client in the court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see.
And what's the prosecution's duty? Just to sit on their pants? Like, what?
That's a good point, actually. He has a slight British accent. Okay, you know, I'm gonna give him a heavy British accent then, Chip.
What do you mean by that? Is he just saying... Is he saying that the testimony just now... that there's a lie? A contradiction?
Now then, your cross-examination, please, Miss Faye.
Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. Wouldn't do that to me, would you? When you say there, you mean the place where the victim was murdered?
Yeah, sort of. The place where something happened anyways.
Something? You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence. Achoo! Achoo!
Anyway, Mr. Wright. What were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallow.
It was just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident.
A coincidence, huh?
You say you found the body, so who called the police?
Huh? Well...
Unfortunately, it was some other students that notified the police.
Other students?
That's correct. They were witnesses. Witnesses who saw the defendant standing there next to the body in shock. Like what he did to the defendant shocked him.
What? Is this true, Mr. Wright?
Could you stop sneezing every time you're in a bind?
Please, Wright. This is gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. Well, it's true that I was pretty shocked when I found the body, but I think that's the contradiction.
So, you didn't know his face or even his name, right?
Right. Well, no. That is, I mean...
So, which is it? Do you know him or not?
Now see here! You can't avoid answering the question by sneezing all day. Well, I guess I did know his name.
News to me. Why didn't he tell me that before?
I heard he used to date Dolly.
Who is this Dolly person? Yes, that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, I see. Young love, so bittersweet. That's all I knew about him. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. Okay, that's the contradiction, isn't it? Mr. Wright.
Wright.
Oh.
Excuse me.
I'm so used to
Mr.
being
Wright,
a lawyer.
Mr. Wright, I'm talking right now. Mr. Wright, you stated the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with.
That's right. I mean, why would I even...
But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe?
Achoo!
Well, Mr. Wright?
No, it wasn't me. I'm not the killer, I swear. It's alright, I'll give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is that? You knew that the victim... How is it that you knew that the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his... What a prick. Okay, this guy's a bit of a prick. He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt.
Did you see it at the crime scene? The Union Jack, I mean.
Yes, that's right. I saw it on the crime scene. That's why I figured he must love British stuff, see? It's true. Cross my heart. I swear I didn't do it.
He's acting fishier than the salmon I ate last night.
May I ask you something, Miss Faye?
Yes, Your Honor. What is it now?
Who's the person anyway? The Union Jack fellow. The Union Jack is the name of the United Kingdom's flag! This is 5 years in the past research, and Mia is now defending Phoenix for murdering Doug Swallows, which I hate that name so much. Oh, I see. So you mean like the Stars and Stripes, right? As usual, Your Honor, your insight astounds me.
Hey, something just occurred to me. Isn't there something strange about this bit just now?
Doug Swallows. Mia, there's a contradiction here.
Mr. Grossberg.
Quickly, act now. Show that boy you mean business, with evidence, I mean.
Okay, Mia, check the court record carefully.
There's so much to check.
So much.
Okay, there's the attorney's badge. Well, my dear, do you think you can manage it from your own at this point? I can handle it. I got it.
1 year ago, I was in a courtroom just like this. I can do it. I can handle this myself.
You mustn't try to bite off more than you can chew, Mia.
I'll be fine. I know what I have to do.
Remember, you can always press him to get more information. Oh, and one more thing. When you're going to state the contradiction, make sure you present some definitive proof.
Okay, Mia. One more time, from the very beginning of his testimony.
Ah, wrong button! Now I just gotta go through all this again. God damn it. I meant to press the present button. Because it is a what do you call it? Because it's a tutorial trial, like those are longer parts. I hate it. Wait, do I not get penalized?
There's a penalty bar right there.
Yeah, but I don't have like a red thing coming up next to it.
I mean, that's usually only when there's like an active threat, like when they're saying do this or else.
Okay. There's no Union Jack on his back there. I do kind of want to present the attorney's badge.
Are you certain you saw the Union Jack?
Yes, yeah, I'm sure it was right there on his back. Miss Faye, there's some point of this line of questioning.
Your Honor, please take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back.
Hey, wait a minute! He's wearing a leather jacket! The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing.
I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that was really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You'd have no idea what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me.
our client cried.
Let him. Anyway. I can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong. Not you.
If I could do that like dual Tibetan throat singing or whatever, I'd do Pain and Phoenix at the same time, but I can't, so you guys have to just suffer with Pain.
That was an impressive bit of cross-examination. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It was quite clear this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime.
Uh-oh. Did I go too far? I was really proud of that P line, but then he kept crying over it.
By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medication for it? Yeah, I took some, but... Was the medicine that you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X?
Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How'd you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? Okay, you know that thing that's on the door stoppers? That like you could twaddle, that cats like twaddle around a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
No.
So like look at a door, any door, and like when it hits the wall, there's like this one like stopper thing that comes out and you can kind of like bong it, you know what I'm saying?
I know of door stoppers, I guess.
That's Payne's hair. Just like Payne stands on the wall, someone tries to open the door, he'll be perfectly safe. He'll just go bong right on it. It's good.
Would you happen to have a medicine with you right now?
Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. He lost it? Oh.
Mr. Wright, I'm thinking. He lost it? Does this even have anything to do with the case?
Mr. Wright! Shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now?
Am I going Gilbert Gottfried on him? Huh?
I don't know, but your mic like cut, so...
So can you guys hear me do Payne's voice, or is that just a thing that you can't hear? So that's good for you.
Your Honor! I'd like you to look at another piece of photo from the crime scene.
So you're being spared the voice, the viewers are not.
What's this? In the victim's hand, it's Cold Killer X!
Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work! There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to.
Oh.
Especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it!
I do not, Chip.
What? Fingerprints? Those are like ballistic markings for hands!
Those are the ballistic markings of hands!
There was a fanfic that wrote this. I can't remember what it is, otherwise I'd recommend it right now, but it's the funniest thing.
God. What is more common in this game, ballistic markings or fingerprints?
Good question. Maybe fingerprints? I don't know. Actually.
Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up this bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright, and hid it in his hand. His purpose in doing so can only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright.
Your Honor, that's the most circumstantial bullshit I've ever heard.
Order! Your Honor! I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence. Very well. The court will accept them into the record.
God.
Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken.
Broken?
Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all this?
This is really bad.
Oh no.
Oh, my buttocks, my poor hemorrhoids.
The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind the building. We talked for a bit, and then around 3 o'clock we split up. Then later when I went back, I found him lying there. I've been taking cold killer X for the last 2 or 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the incident. Mr. Wright, that's a completely different testimony that you gave previously. Achoo! 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 I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid that you wouldn't believe the truth.
You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible.
Miss Faye, please begin your cross-examination.
Oh, please, Mr. Wright, don't tell any more lies.
The next scene is just like what really, really happened.
Had you ever met the victim before then?
No, never. But that day he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly.
And this Dolly person is?
It's kind of embarrassing. She's my sweetheart.
What was that for me, huh?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden.
Oh, did she just slap him, Roseberry?
Yeah.
Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim, Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is. So it's one of those nasty love triangles I see.
Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45?
Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU.
An alchemist, I see.
I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run high voltage electricity.
Oh, how fascinating. Sounds like he was quite the ambitious young man that you slaughtered and took his life early.
What should I do? Maybe I should ask him for some more details? So you're absolutely certain that you met at 2:45?
Yeah, pretty sure. That's the time the class ends. But they're always doing experiments, so it doesn't matter much.
Experiments?
Yeah, those pharmacology guys are always in the lab whipping something up.
Well, looks like he's right about the time anyways.
Witness, let's go on with your testimony.
Alright, gotta do the whole thing again. That second answer. He's a full metal alchemist. His dude just comes back out, he's electrified, he comes back out, it's like a machine man thing.
I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department.
Well, okay, sure, I don't know all that much though.
A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity.
That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages that are high voltage cables everywhere.
High voltage cables?
Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. High voltage cables run overhead around the roof.
Finally, I think we're getting somewhere.
So what was it you were talking about? Oh,
Mr. Wright, please don't speak over me.
I'm so used to being on that side of the screen. You got it. You can do it.
This is you, homie.
No, but you gotta say, Mr. Wright, what were we talking about?
I didn't even remember the line. I didn't get to.
There you go.
So-
The line is, Mr. Wright, what were you talking about?
I'm not saying.
You know, that maybe we should hang out again sometime.
Hang out again sometime. I wish that were true. So you say you went back.
Yeah, that's when I found the body.
Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him?
Well, that's right, I was.
Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there?
Thought maybe we could make up.
Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. It's rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year, isn't it?
Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in the spring, huh?
I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine?
Well, I always took one after meals. That sounds like a lot to take, actually. Holy shit. So I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it.
On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch?
Huh? What does that have to do with anything?
You can never be too sure.
I always eat with Dolly. Just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. Hee.
Ouch, why did you punch me in the jaw?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
It's enough for now. The defendant and the victim met up at approximately the time of his death. The defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced about his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted.
What do you mean?
He. I knew it was too much to ask for a little girl. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor? How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe that murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, You are correct, Your Honor.
How exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose.
I remember correctly. Yeah. There's a cut cable right there.
Your Honor,
Yes, Miss Fay.
I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died.
That would be most impressive. Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence, except for prosecutors who can shove things in whenever they want.
Of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgotten about that.
Now then, Miss Fay, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted.
I can't wait for him to lose his hair. Research! Oh my god, it's brutal. I hate that hair thing though too. I get you.
As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well.
What? But there's nothing that can remotely resemble a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this a bit more in detail. Miss Fay, where exactly in the photo is this murder weapon?
Alright, it's all up to you, Katie. It's Miss Fay's time now.
You really want me to solve the cases for you?
No. I was just joking about you being able to control the screen. You get one from long ago. Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, naturally, it's right here.
That's... What is that?
A severed electrical cable, I believe. Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard. The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere.
So then, the high voltage cable.
Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation.
That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order.
Don't toy with me, old man.
Now the victim's cause of death may indeed be a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant. Phew. That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it?
Oh, don't tell me his fingerprints are on the fucking cable.
His fingerprints.
Fingerprints? Those are like the ballistics markings of their hand. You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim was wearing a leather jacket. And you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well.
You mean...
Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The ball print of the defendant's very own hand.
What?
I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder. He squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable.
Order. That's enough. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination.
Stick a fork in us, we are done.
That's you, homie.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Mr. Grossberg.
My hemorrhoids never lied. This show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him.
No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent.
No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt.
Your Honor.
At this time, I'm prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have something further to add, Miss Fay?
Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth. The whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict.
But I can't. I can't just say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be...
It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me.
Miss Fay.
No matter what it is you have to say. I believe in you, and I'll represent you until the very end.
We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything.
Wait a minute.
Mr. Wright.
I'll tell you what really happened.
But I've already told you, Mr. Wright, there's no need for further.
I did it. I admit it, I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow was dead. That girl, you shouldn't say her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see it, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. And just listen to me. There's something you need to know, mate, about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I'm afraid it was. Afraid if I told you the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay. Won't it, Miss Faye? I believe in you.
Oh, thank you. I still can't believe it. He really did push the victim.
It feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake. Wait,
Was the Harlem Shake a thing back then?
It was a thing back then.
Okay. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. I went back, but he was just lying there, dead.
well, that explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been fallen. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted.
But, when I pushed him, there wasn't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it.
That's true. Even a doofus like him could miss that.
Damn!
Miss Faye, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without any further delay. Are we clear on that?
Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. He is innocent. There must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it.
I want to say something real quick.
Hmm?
I just want to look at it, piece of evidence real quick. Okay.
So, what kinds of things did Mr. Swallow say to you?
He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said she was a Batgirl.
Is that all?
Yep.
Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself.
Oh boy, you're not doing any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is.
Anyway, after he said that, I just...
Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail?
That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest.
And when you did that, there is no severed cable anywhere to be seen?
Right! There was nothing like that at all.
But is it possible you merely overlooked it?
Well, I guess it is possible.
What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll all over you like cheap asphalt.
I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness.
A loud noise. And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright?
I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap! And then crackle! And then pop! And you know, come to think of it, I wonder what it was.
Hee 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 hee! Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted!
No, I should...
You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. So try to remember what it was.
How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Could it have been?
Yes, could it have been... Hurry up and tell us.
When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard.
An umbrella, huh? And then that umbrella belonged to the victim. Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner.
Jesus!
Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now?
Well...
Yeah, it's important.
This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony.
Ha! How perfectly fitting! Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer, like my flimsy hair!
Gotta turn stuff down a couple of notches.
Also, you can hear that.
Oh, I can't hear it. There we go.
The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add that bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony.
So, Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you are certain of this?
Yeah, it was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under it, I was planning on borrowing it myself.
The umbrella, you mean?
Well, yeah, you see, I was wearing this sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time knitting it for me. I didn't want it to rain and to dampen the handmade symbol of her love. My stomach is not used for your personal soccer bomb, Mia.
I'm so sorry.
Continue with your testimony, witness.
I just felt like kicking something.
Mia is physically abusive to Grossberg.
When she gets angry, apparently she just goes smack. After you shoved the victim, did you leave this scene right away?
Yes, I did. I admit it. I was furious. You left without even checking Mr. Swallow's condition? Well, yeah, but like I said, I got worried about him later.
At that time, did you see anyone else at the scene of the crime?
Nope, nobody.
Jeez, could that stupid cough possibly sound any phonier?
In that case, it's very hard to believe someone else could have done the murder. Unless you can find something that shows his innocence from that testimony, my dear. I'm afraid the judge will make his final decision with no remorse whatsoever.
Yes, sir. Right now I need more info. Info that will help me turn up some contradictions.
Alright, so something to do with this umbrella. I know there's a picture of the umbrella here that is snapped. But he's not on top of his umbrella.
Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning?
Come on, if I hadn't mentioned that...
I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier.
What do you mean by that?
Take another look at this crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole.
You're absolutely right.
Conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive.
No! Order! The victim, he moved. Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want it presented as evidence immediately. But the umbrella could have simply been blown by the wind.
According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way the wind could have been... there's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind.
But... I know the matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but As long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. Yeah, no! I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole in this that huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. All right. Well done, Mia. Hee. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was... Oh my god, I was just about to go Elmo. That wasn't even Elmo. Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. I was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying.
Let me guess. You have another witness.
Exactly, and this witness testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who's the witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very young lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. What? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear.
Bad news. You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this.
You can't be serious! Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop. Court will now have a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we'll listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Woo!
Getting a quick drink of water real quick. 'Cause, oh boy. Payne's voice is a pain. I know it's a lot better than the one I did before. Like, for you guys. Because Katie's not complaining about it nearly as much, but...
Oh, I turned you down, homie. I can barely hear you.
Oh, man. Wow, I can't believe Katie's just like, I don't want to hear Steph's voice anymore. All right. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there.
It's alright. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright.
I will hire whenever I want to, Chip.
Yeah, so I guess I could start to relax then, huh? Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts.
But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will.
Why do you think that?
Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life. That's why.
Love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne?
Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyways, one day she and I just bumped into each other, and I'm in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. She'd been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she said this: I want you to carry this.
So, she gave this to you as a present, I see.
The darling little bottle is filled with my memories of my darling little Dolly. I don't like Dahlia.
It certainly is a little bottle, all right.
It makes me so happy. I want to show everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world.
Anyway. So after that, you and Ms. Hawthorne started dating?
Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she's always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now.
What a strange girl asking for a present back like that.
By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to have been on August 27th, would it?
What? Huh? Yeah, it was. How'd you?
This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse.
What's this? A newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the courthouse. Murder?
What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see.
Mia, I think I'm understanding what you're trying to say.
And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there's some connection between these two cases, am I correct?
I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself.
Ah, yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go have a look in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find.
Thank you.
I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. Well, it looks like the recess is just about over. We'd all better get moving.
I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though.
I don't know, it seems a lot shorter than me.
To be continued. I think this is the perfect time to take a quick restroom break because it is it is a thing. I'll say this. We'll be right back in about. Oh, beans. That's fine. It's just gonna go next time. We'll be back in 5 minutes, right, guys? You go with that, Katie?
Yeah.
All right. See you in 5, guys. Peace out.
See you in 5.
And we're back. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well.
Hello.
Let's get going. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness.
This next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened.
Thank you very much, Chip.
The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand.
Are you gonna give her an ooh-woo voice? Oh, damn, she's tranquil.
What's with the stiff silence?
In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many witnesses. It is my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit, you radiate a glow of complete sincerity. God damn it, Judge.
I can't believe he actually said that.
Oh! Let me ask well then. Witness, can you please say your name?
Don't worry, sweetie. There's no need to be nervous.
If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size.
And I will bash her with my gavel. And my axe.
I love how they look straight at me when they say that. Thank you for calming my nerves.
Fright research.
You're all so nice. I almost feel right at home.
I cannot wait for her to break down.
Not at all.
It was nothing.
If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University.
See, here's the thing, right? The last person to have animals flying around them was Acro, and he was guilty. Right? Like, he had birds and everything. He had a hummingbird that was, like, beautiful. Winter! Winter gave me a beautiful raid. Hello there, Winter. Let me give you a quick shout out. Oh, Research has got it. Thank you very much, Research. You are on top of this. Research, thank you very much. Winter, hello there. How are you doing today? Welcome on in, Raiders. My name is Steph. I'm Botanist Cool, and today we are doing some Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations with my friend Katie. You say hi, Katie.
Hello.
We are here. I am doing the bad voice acting. Katie's doing the good voice acting, and I hope you guys are ready for these horrible voices. Raiders, welcome on in. J-Man Can't Climb, welcome on in. Uchu, how you doing, my dude? Researcher, forget one more shout out for Uchu, please. And Winter, how was your stream? What were y'all playing? Did you forget to invite me to play Phasmophobia again, Winter? Is that how it's going, right? Get ready for these horrible my horrible voice acting, Katie's good voice acting, and a story of intrigue, death, and murder. Calling out Winter, I live for this. Just a wee bit. Yeah, no. Winter's a great person. Please check her out, guys. Please check her out. But big collab. Ooh, Winter, thank you very much. I am excited to hear about that collab.
I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
Oh my god, I hate her already.
The honor is all mine!
No, the honor is all mine.
Well, we know whose milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
No! Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sir?
Is there something I can help you with?
You must go on and say whatever's on your mind.
I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone. I just know it.
Yes. I can see why you'd say that.
She's gonna be a tough witness, alright.
Thank you for the lurk, Winter. Please get your food and rest.
It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger.
Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please. Oh, God.
I had been planning to go back to Feeny's place after class was over. Feeny and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed.
What?
That's when Feeny noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities.
What? I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong. Young lady! As old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of young passion could burn! How old are you? Nevertheless, it's my job to discover the truth. Please tell us the truth.
But I would never. That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue.
What do you mean by that?
Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. You haven't changed a bit, Mia Fey.
What is this? Are you two acquainted?
Yes, we've met before. Once.
In any case, Miss Fay, the floor is all yours.
It's good to see you again, Madam Fay. Madam? I'm no one's grandma yet, girlie.
Wait, is Madam specifically for grandmas?
I mean, it's for older women, right?
I guess. We'll check his age soon, Chip. And she's using a parcel because she can. From what I could tell.
Well, you know, the court lighting, it's so bright.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on. Let me see how old Payne is. He's 49! Jesus!
Look at his stupid little mouth.
He got like a little hamster mouth. He has that mouth that the guy in Rune Factory 5 has.
He has duck face.
Oh my god, he's just a duck. He has the same mouth the guy in Rune Factory 5 has, though. The Saint de Quack, whatever his name is. Palco?
I think Cockeel or whatever.
Yeah. He has his face. Anyways.
Now, unless I'm mistaken, Mr. Wright is in the art department. If that's the case, then what were you doing by the pharmacology building? Well, I'm in the literature department. I'm studying Japanese Senryu poetry.
That's a very specific major, holy shit.
Oh, how wonderful. Is that humorous yet satirical style of haiku, yes?
Nothing left to do. When a man reaches this age, sleep is his best friend.
Hey, Ethano.
That's supposed to be poetry? Sounds more like a midlife crisis.
Sounds more like a quarter-life crisis, just like my life. But anyways.
For me to get to the art department, I have to walk back through that area. I have to walk through that back area.
Ah, yes, I see. That makes sense. When I want to enter the courthouse, I always walk through the front doors.
How else would you enter? Teleportation?
Scotty, beam me up.
So, who is this Dougie person?
Oh,
I'm sorry, Doug Swallow. We were dating until about 8 months ago. So, what were Dougie... what Mr. Swallow and Mr. Wright talking about anyway? How can you be so mean? I would never eavesdrop.
oh my god, I hate her.
I wasn't raised to be so rude and unrefined.
That's right, Miss Fay.
Mitchell, thank you very much for the subscription, my friend. Let's let the music play out before I continue on with this. But thank you very much for the subscription. Uchu, yeah, Mr. Swallow. I hate this too. I hate the fact his name's Swallow. I do agree. Mitchell, thank you very much for your Prime subscription. It means the world to me, my friend. Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube, because once we get 100 people on YouTube, subscribers on YouTube, we're doing an Echo the Dolphin playthrough and lore video. It's gonna be wild. How you doing today, Mitchell? Anyways,
Don't drag the witness down to your level.
Why am I being demonized here?
Please, go on. What did you see next?
Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own? Yes. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim. Is that right? I was watching the whole time. Feeny never did a thing to Doug. If I press her for no good reason, I just know the judge will get angry with me. So what should I do about her testimony just now? Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we? No, what? I would never.
Miss Faye! I will not allow you to badger this witness! I believe the defense is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, just no support. Please don't glare at me like that, I'm just doing my job!
Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Mr. Wright did in fact push the victim. What? There's no need to try and cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth.
There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything you saw.
Yes, Your Honor. I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony. Looks like we're finally getting somewhere. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. You didn't see it? No, I saw the moment Dougie fell to the ground.
And at that time, there were only the two of them at the scene. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and the victim, Doug Swallow.
Yes, that's right. Didn't look like they were fighting, and I didn't hear anything unusual either.
Which contradicts Phoenix's testimony.
So then, what did it look like they were doing to you? I thought they were having a nice friendly afternoon conversation.
God, I hate her so much. I do not know why. I mean, I feel like she's the bad guy. But I just hate her so much. I hate everything about her. Like, okay, I'm gonna be real quick, right? Every character that has been bad, like, either chat or us or I have picked up on it. And I don't know what it is, but they just make the characters smell fishy when they're really fishy. So you're just kind of like, I know who to focus on, right? I know how I gotta get there, but I don't know how I gotta get there. You know, like, I know the end goal, I just do not know the journey to get to that end goal, right? And because of that, I think it's really good game design. Like, I feel like Dahlia's bad. I don't know how yet, but she's lying. And she apparently knows Mia Fey.
Oh, give me a break. That's why I really wasn't watching them all that closely.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all?
No, nothing at all, Mr. Judge.
Oh, I like the sound of that, Mr. Judge. Now then,
Please proceed with your test. Didn't he like fawn over April, May, and like the other girl as well? Meanie Miney?
Perhaps a little.
Yeah.
When you say students, do you mean students from the pharmacology department? Yes, they're all very fond of their drugs. Please try to stay on topic. So to find some pharmacology students, you went to the labs, correct? That's what I was planning to do, but in the end, I wound up not going. A group of about 10 research students came running out of the building entrance. Somehow, they all seemed to know what was going on. The students knew what was going on? But how could the students have known what was going on? Well, I don't know for sure that they knew what had happened. It's just, They all seemed kind of excited about something. It doesn't look like I'm going to get any more info about the students.
So, did the students call the police?
Yes. I was so panicked.
Yes, well, anyone would have been, my dear.
That girl, she's telling a super obvious lie, and she knows it. She's just pretending to protect Mr. Wright. Yes, that's gotta be it. Way to go, Mia. Okay, that means I'm going to have to dig deep to find the contradiction on this one.
It's not actually that deep. So what I gotta do here is present my attorney's no. What does this newspaper clipping say? Actually, I want to read that. Fatal information was being disclosed at this time since the victim's yesterday incident at the district courthouse cafeteria is said to have been a lawyer. However, the police are questioning the 19-year-old female college student who was sitting with the victim. Oh, damn. All right.
You say you didn't hear anything unusual. Is that correct? Yes. That's why I was very relaxed, looking at the scenery around me.
So cocky.
That's nice, but I find that just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright. And he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise. He said that? If you were really that close to the two of them, why didn't you hear the noise as well?
Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable.
But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise, like a snap. There's no way a noise like that couldn't fail to make an impression.
Ah!
May I have a moment to answer?
By all means.
I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is,
Oh, I'm gonna hate this. I knew
I
it.
had my headphones on. I was listening to music at the time.
Frickin' millennials.
I had my AirPods in, so I couldn't hear a sound.
Oh no, she has her AirPods in. No.
Headphones? You mean both your ears were covered?
Not with AirPods. My brain was just beginning to let up. But it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble. Thunder and lightning, huh? Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of thunder. I put my headphones on to block it out.
Oh my god, I hate this so much.
Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there weren't any contradictions in her testimony after all.
Wait a sec, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change this whole case.
There was lightning.
Your Honor, there's a problem with the witness's testimony.
What do you mean?
Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct?
Yes, what about it?
Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere, am I right?
Now's not the time for a science lesson, Miss Faye.
Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by a bolt of lightning?
Oh! Ah! I must admit that I had not thought of that. The thought had not occurred to me.
Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy, anyway? His entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered. But if that very premise itself is mistaken, the defense believes that Mr. Swallow was, in fact, the victim of a stray bolt.
It appears the defense may be onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental?
Alright, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty now if you don't
That went Michael Jackson. Oops.
I am hurt you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Faye.
Huh?
I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found there were no lightning strikes on the day of that location.
What?
What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to this case.
Evidence, Miss Faye. What is the evidence?
This affidavit.
And who is this affidavit from?
The pharmacology students who are conducting the experiments in their lab that day. Allow me to read it out to the court testimony of the. Allow me to read out to the court the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day.
Was it a blackout?
All labs equipment were running on high voltage, Your Honor.
You're saying the equipment lost power because...
Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m.
Which fits at the time of death listed in the autopsy report.
Exactly. In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable.
I can curse again. Let's go.
According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future.
I see.
Apparently, the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break.
However, there's one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken at a many small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it hadn't been bumped into, correct?
Well, I suppose you can say that.
Miss Faye, do you have any thoughts regarding this cause of the severed cable?
Your Honor. I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try and regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion.
Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was that caused the cable to break? Frick! That's not a thing I can use. Nothing I can use. You said who as well. Hey, Dahlia caused the break? She was there, wasn't she? This doesn't help. I could say that whoever hit it with the umbrella. But do you agree that pain is just Brock from Pokemon? No, Brock is actually tolerable.
This is it. This is why the cable snapped.
Well, Your Honor?
Haha, yeah, it's not your time.
I believe the only thing to step is the mind of the defense. Ah, that was one of the best lines you've had yet.
Ouch, that was harsh. Please, Your Honor, give me one more chance.
Well then, let's hear it. Yeah. Okay, so...
This is it. This is why the cable snapped.
Oh, come on. What? Okay. Did Doug just bump into it? No. Am I missing something super obvious? What am I missing that's super obvious? Like, I have to be missing something that's super fucking obvious.
The cause of why the cable broke.
It's a Phoenix?
Your Honor,
Okay.
please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony.
The defendant's testimony.
He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened around 3 p.m., correct?
Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that?
The lab equipment lost power at 2:55 p.m., which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline. In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage.
Yes! The prosecution also came to that same conclusion. And that's why that very shove was that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted.
I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne.
What's that supposed to mean?
Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right. The victim banged into the pole as a result of being pushed. It was the impact that caused the cable to break.
Well, that makes sense. And then the victim was electrocuted.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no. It doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into the far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by the severed cable in the foreground here. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim.
Order to court.
The lamentations of my enemy. How I've longed to hear them.
It's true, the defense is absolutely correct. Doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have.
Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madam Attorney's explanation. You said some things that are a little different than how I remember them.
What? What?
What the? Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time? Please, Mr. Judge?
I gotta hit her.
Oh, of course, it's all right. Go right ahead and giving you testimony.
This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors. Truth is, Feeny pushed him twice. The first time was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him. But Feeny caught up and crashed into him from behind. The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted. It all occurred in less than a minute.
That's impossible.
So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away. And that's when the defendant pushed him for the second time!
I'm so sorry, Feeny, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge?
Of course you are, my dear. As painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Faye, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
I found the contradiction already.
Ms. Hawthorne, previously in your testimony you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. I know. I'm sorry. I just wanted to protect Feeny. That's why you basically lied to the court? I was a bad girl. I know. Mr. Judge?
Yes!
Would you please forgive little old me? Of course he won't! What you did is called perjury!
Oh, come on now, just a little white lie. We'll forget it this time, but please be more careful from now on, alright?
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Judge.
Not at all.
The judge had better be more careful himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl.
Ugh. I just got a achievement that says "Beware your honor." There's a picture of Dahlia next to it.
You're saying you actually saw the victim get pushed into the electrical pole? I know he doesn't look it, but Feeny can be a bit of an imp when he wants to be. Oh, really? But I never imagined that he would cause an electrical cable to break. Feeny is really scary when he gets mad.
Yes, sounds like a very dangerous individual indeed.
So let me get this straight. You are happily listening to the music on your headphones while you watch this scene unfold? What?
Miss Fee, I'll have to ask you to stop badgering the witness!
I wasn't happy. I was so scared that I couldn't even move. All I could do was stand there and cheer them on.
Cheer them on? What do you mean by that?
Oh, I wish the best for them both, and that they would each give the fight their all.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's very sweet of you.
No, Judge.
And what happened after that?
That doesn't sound quite right. There are handprints found on the chest of the victim's leather jacket. Mr. Payne, were there also prints found on the back of his leather jacket?
Well, no, there weren't!
Madam Faye, may I suggest that you listen a little more carefully? You said that he crashed into him from behind, right? My Feeny wouldn't leave any prints behind in that case, would he?
Fuck! I keep thinking it's Phoenix! I'm
Mr.
so
Grossberg, please don't talk over me.
so used to it.
Did you actually witness the moment the victim was electrocuted? I'm sorry. I didn't actually see it. I turned my eyes away.
That's understandable! Yes, indeed, it would have been a horrific sight for anyone to behold.
If I don't figure out the contradiction here, it's all over. She didn't have much time to come up with her lies, so this is my best chance. There must be a hole in her testimony somewhere. Think, Mia.
Your Feeny's a fried zucchini now, exactly. A fried zucchini. Anyways. I'm gonna present the watch now. Wait, where's the watch? Oh, here it is.
That's enough, witness. I'm afraid I don't understand. You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture? That medicine. That's the one Feeny likes to take for his cold. Not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05 p.m.
Ah, yes, and your point is, Miss Faye?
My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered that power outage due to the cable snapping?
Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:50. Yeah!
Would you care to explain to the court, Ms. Dahlia Hawthorne, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defense proposes that it was during this interval that the real murderer killed Doug Swallow.
Order in the court. What is this about? This is nonsense! The real murderer!
Even you can't deny that the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for.
Then who was it? Who else do you think could have done it?
There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow. Only after my client had left the scene. There is a window of opportunity for the real killer.
Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as the real killer?
Yeah, they've really had to
Finally
stick with
time.
Swallow. Yeah, I agree, research.
Just think of it like the bird, it's fine. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor, we are ready.
Very well, but remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you'll be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. Now then, Miss Faye, let's have it. Who is the real killer? Mr. Payne! No, I'm kidding.
It could have only been you, Dahlia Hawthorne. Well, how could you?
The defense is grasping at straws!
10 minutes passed between the time the cable broke and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing that whole time, Ms. Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you.
Order! Miss Faye! I mean...
Ms. Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his death by your very own hands. Ah! How can you say something so mean, Madame Faye? I didn't do anything.
Miss Faye, this is a very serious...
Your Honor, please, I have something I want to say. Achoo!
You! What is it?
Please strike everything from the defense just said from the record.
What the? Are you daft?
You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that.
Mr. Wright, get back to your seat. Bailiff, grab the man.
Ah! Achoo! Achoo! Leave my Dolly alone! Achoo!
Oh, that boy. He's got himself way in over his head.
Oh, Mr. Grossberg, you're back.
It seems I arrived just in the nick of time. I found this police report of the incident on your newspaper clipping.
Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
You had better take a good look at it. It, details how you came to lose your boyfriend. Oh. Mr. Payton, what do you have to say about this?
Well, really, Your Honor, this is
May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor?
Ah, don't worry, my dear. I have the situation well in hand. If it is, go right ahead.
Madame Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie? Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright.
I told you should let me handle this! Sorry, please go ahead.
How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. Notion that I were trying to frame him is ludicrous. All just too much for poor little me to bear.
I believe that girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be.
The answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must.
Time to read it. Location, District Courthouse Cafeteria. Date, time, August 27th, 4 p.m. Victim, Diego Armando. Occupation, lawyer. Suspect, Dahlia Hawthorne, 19. Armando ingested a poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Traces of the poison were found in the victim's cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the Okay. Dahlia, you bitch.
"8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then, that same day, the two of them accidentally meet. Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Ms. Dahlia Hawthorne.
Further testimony? What about?
About the events of the day that she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What could possibly have this to do with the case?
The witness claims that she has no reason to frame the defendant, am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests she, in fact, had a very good reason.
Very well then. The court grants the defense request. Young lady, would you mind staying on for just a bit longer?
Of course not, Mr. Judge. Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne.
This is the Katie hour now.
I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day.
Oh, it's me. We're so lovey-wovey, we literally make people sick. It's just jealousy, I think.
Mr. Wright, do that again, I'll hold you in contempt of the court.
Feeny is Phoenix, yeah.
And now we enter the final act of our little drama.
As we used to say back in my youth, go get her.
I thought Feeny was the dead guy. Oh, that's Dougie. But we all know that this is just this. See, here's the thing, right? Phoenix didn't have the emotional ability to recognize his true, you know, like the fact that Edgeworth was his one, because they've been apart for so long, right? So, you know, he had to date someone in that time.
So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow? Yes, I'm a real fool, I know. Letting my emotions change so quickly. I'm ashamed of myself.
No, not at all. Look at me, I'm infamous for changing my mind. My critics have even taken to calling me Judge Fickle. Ho ho ho.
Maybe you should look for a different line of work.
Despite that, however, he always hands down the correct verdict. That's why some people also call him the Great Judgini.
The courthouse reading room, that's a strange place to meet the love of your life. Not true, Madam Faye. After all, Feeny was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you, Ms. Hawthorne. What was a literature student like you doing in a courthouse reading room?
This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case. Miss Faye, I'm warning you. If this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case.
Have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. I'd better tread carefully.
Dave. I don't think they're gonna put a trap in here yet, but like, just in case. No?
Your Honor, if you'll allow me some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue on with her testimony.
Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room?
If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is simply this. I had come to this courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing.
Contradiction.
You were writing a paper? On what? On the relationship between modern scenario poetry and the criminal underworld.
Oh, ho, ho, that sounds like a fascinating research idea.
Am I getting old? No, I've even forgotten what I've forgotten. Again with the midlife crisis stuff?
Mia, why did this girl really come to the courthouse? Isn't that what you wanted to know? Speaking of forgetting things, you haven't forgotten the police report, have you? I went through a lot of trouble to get it, my dear, so be sure to read it carefully. I'm just gonna present it there. I'm done with her.
Ms. Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason?
What do you mean? This cocky smile on your face, Miss Faye?
8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy.
Another tragedy? You mean the instance where the attorney was poisoned?
The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in this report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne.
What? Dahlia Hawthorne?
Yes, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Ms. Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago.
Order! This is unbelievable. It's true then, the loveliest rose can hide some thorn. Miss Faye, that's not fair! You can't slander my witness with an unrelated case! Aye, Winston Payne will not allow it!
Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking.
Ah, pardon me. Go on right ahead.
That about 8 months ago, police expressed some interest in me.
Express some interest, huh?
Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under an oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago.
I see.
Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive.
Well done, Mia. Oh, you've really lit a fire in my heart and my buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids.
Oy vey.
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that.
Researcher's just going, sir, sit down. Wait, fuck! You need a special cushion for that research.
This is what happened here 8 months ago. However, as you heard from the witness testimony, she has nothing to do with it. I just think that the defense is about out of tricks.
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today. And I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination.
Ah! Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger? Mia, you are going for true lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence absolutely smashing. Elijah, smash. Oh, that's his voice now. Mia, you're doing so good.
Would that be better for you there, Katie?
Grossberg isn't the one who annoys me. What were you talking about with the defense attorney? I'm sorry, but that's confidential.
According to the report, you were being interviewed regarding another case.
The lawyer that was killed. He said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up in when I was younger.
Why don't you tell us about what that incident was?
Mr. Grossberg, please don't talk over me.
Fuck! God damn it, I'm so sorry. I'm so used to being Phoenix.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with this case!
Yeah, this is Phoenix Wright, Max Cooper.
Objection sustained. The defense's question is stricken from the record.
You get involved in a lot of incidents, don't you, Ms. Hawthorne? guess I was just born under a bad sign.
Yeah, blame frickin' Mercury. Don't worry, Dolly, I'll protect you!
You heard the man. Now that is true love, young lady.
Oh, Feeny, please. Those two are making me ill, albeit for decidedly different reasons.
Yeah, for I've never heard of this. It's a lawyer simulator game, super realistic, 100%. Doesn't break any real life laws in any way, shape, and or form, and definitely is not about two beautiful gay lawyers fighting at each other's throat all the time. Definitely not, but it definitely is.
I mean, it's kind of a court parody. In Japan, they have a very high conviction rate.
Do they?
From what I've heard, at least, yes.
Okay.
From what I've heard, again, I haven't done a lot of independent research, but just from what I've heard, it's very, the police would kind of lose face if they didn't get the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the conviction rate is, like, somewhere in, like, the 90% rate.
So from your understanding, was it more along the lines that the police are very careful as to who they arrest, or is it more along the lines of just the people who are arrested are convicted?
What I've heard, and again, I haven't looked a lot into it, but like what I've heard is like it's kind of leaning towards the guilty until proven innocent line.
Okay. But yeah,
and that's why like everything is against you in this game, because like please.
Gotcha. Yeah, Max Super. It's basically a lawyer simulator game. It's a court parody. Is the best way to put it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but that's just what I've heard. Like I haven't done personal research, so take what I say there with a grain of salt. But how long were you gone? I've already answered all those questions for the police. Well, if you must know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes. And where were you during that stretch of time? Using the toilet?
What are you saying, Miss Faye? Toilet? My perfect dolly doesn't poop.
You heard the defendant, Miss Faye. Better luck next time.
Oh, Feeny, please.
The police have already looked into the whole matter. She indeed did not poop! This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of the court's time.
She was extremely constipated all the time.
We have to get her X-Lax every day! Objection sustained. Miss Hawthorne, please continue your testimony.
About how much liquid is 2 teaspoons? Very bad at metrics.
Well, let me see.
Teaspoons, let me think. If I'm correct, teaspoons are about 5 milliliters, so about 10 milliliters of liquid. Because I use that for actually like measuring out my stuff every day. I think it's about 10 milliliters of liquid.
My bottle of eye drops say 1/2 fluid ounce, which is equal to 3 teaspoons.
That's about 2/3 of that amount, huh? The poison was found in the lawyer's mug of coffee. Must have been after I left the table. Someone must have quietly slipped it in there. A special kind of poison? How so? Well, I heard it's almost impossible to detect.
Oh, where does something like that come from?
I'm sorry. All I know is what I overheard the policeman saying. They said something about using advanced chemical processes to purify it.
Chemical process? Well, that's quite impressive. Most impressive.
The better question is, how did the criminal get something like that?
That's the lie, because chemical processing. She had a pharmacology boyfriend at the time.
And that's the reason they didn't arrest you? Because no one could show how you could have gotten the poison? I think that's a good enough reason, Madam Faye.
She's right! I think we've had enough of Miss Faye's questions! So, in essence, the main reason Miss Hawthorne was never arrested for the crime was because no one could show how she could have obtained the poison.
And all we have to do is find a way to establish how she could have gotten some, right? Great. Now just how did a lit student get a hold of poison, of all things?
We're presenting the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend.
You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you. What? In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab.
Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow?
That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Ms. Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. If you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University.
Pharmacology?
His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have obtained such a rare and special poison. Well, Ms. Hawthorne, it seems you had access to such a poison after all. And then, it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done this was the one sitting at his very table, you. No!
Order! Could it be? That's nothing but a business!
May I say something, Madam Faye? What is it, Miss Hawthorne? The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some sort of container.
Well, yes, that's true.
I was searched immediately after the incident took place.
Quite true. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down.
But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they? She's right. They even mentioned that in the report. Well, you could have easily gotten rid of something that small. Excuse me, madam, but this is a court of law. You're saying I threw the poison container away? I think you need to show some kind of proof. Proof? She got me good with that.
Dang, I had to substantiate my claims?
Provide some evidence or I'll disallow this line of question, Miss Faye. Unless we can come up with some good evidence, we're going to lose this lead.
Police conducted a full-body search of Dahlia and the entire courthouse. And yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crimes occurred.
If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder, then where is the container of poison? Where is the container the poison was carried in? What happened to it?
A small ball necklace, right? He shows it to everybody. Hey, what a coincidence! It holds two teaspoons of poison.
You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with the case. Someone you knew wouldn't be searched.
Who was this person?
Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course.
So the defendant was this witness's accomplice?
Of course not. She gave the poison to him, disguised as a present. What? But that's...
That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It's really quite cute. So what about it? What does this mean, Miss Faye?
Welcome back, Remus.
The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago. August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that would give her away.
What? Are you saying there's a deadly poison in here?
No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount. No!
Order in the court.
On behalf of Dolly, I object!
Mr. Wright, control yourself.
I won't let you bully her like this.
Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat.
Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her?
Why? Because I'm madly in love with her.
Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time.
Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway?
Damn! Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too.
Mr. Wright, please open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is...
She's madly in love with you now.
Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck.
My necklace?
Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself.
Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she's always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now.
What a strange girl asking for a present back like that.
For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back.
You're lying!
But you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she...
I don't believe you. No! That's a lie!
Mira, you alright? The defendant's doing bailiff! Hurry up after him! Mira, you alright?
Yes, I think so.
That boy, he went completely insane.
Where's Mr. Wright?
Looks like the bailiff got him, so he should be back soon enough.
Thank goodness. Oh no.
What is it?
The bottle necklace. Ms. Hawthorne's present. It's gone.
What? That's terrible!
Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me.
Foolish boy. The only thing that could have saved him. What are we supposed to do now? Mr. Wright, what sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid your apology's not enough!
Mr. Wright! What did you do with the bottle necklace?
Forgive me, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just give back the necklace.
I ate. Oh my god, I was about to joke saying he ate it. But he actually did eat it. I ate it.
You what?
You ate it.
It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first, but... Yeah.
What the?
What? What is he doing now?
Your Honor, you've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? That bottle you swallowed may have had some poison left in it.
It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. That bottle did not contain a deadly poison.
How could you be so sure?
I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination. So let's see.
No!
No!
Oh.
There must be some mistake. Mr. Grossberg, please, I've got this. The bottle must not have any poison left in it. Either that or the poison must have lost its potency.
There, it's all right, rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney can do, and it's heartwarming to see that you place this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that's how the process. That's it. That is restart. But that's how.
This is getting worse. This is legitimately getting worse. Just even in daily life, when I'm talking on the phone or something, I'll just start being like, just like you've called me out on it before here and there. Actually, Katie, so it's just getting worse. Hold on, ready? We're good.
But that's how it is for us on the prosecution sides too. For example, I would trust the witness, Ms. Hawthorne, with my life. Which is why I can state that your assessment of her is completely wrong.
That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Faye, I cannot accept your explanation of the events.
But why?
It may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand, but in a court of law, evidence is everything.
Ugh. Even after I proved so much, is she going to get away with everything?
Well, now that the suspicion around Miss Hawthorne has been cleared up, I would like to proceed with the trial.
Mr. Wright.
I'm sorry, Miss Faye. I totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believed in me, and I feel like I really let you down.
Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say?
There's something I forgot to tell you. What is it? That day, the day I met Doug Swallow.
That girl, you shouldn't say her anymore.
Hey, it's none of your business.
I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to say it, it's gonna be bad news.
You're lying.
Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Last night, someone stole some poison from my lab.
Poison?
The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time too. It could only have been her. The girl's a thief.
Stop it. Don't talk about her like that.
Is it true? Did he really say that?
That's ridiculous! One more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him.
What?
She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but I'm sorry, Dolly.
Yeah, this is the defendant is.
Miss Faye, you tell them. Dolly didn't do it. She's innocent.
Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago, too, huh? To put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony, then there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believes that Ms. Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison the night before she killed Doug Swallow.
The night before?
Naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone.
Miss Faye. If you're so sure of your theory, let me ask you this.
Mia, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore...
Exactly. Who was Miss Dahlia Hawthorne planning to kill?
There's one person that was standing squarely in Ms. Dahlia Hawthorne's way. And that person was... Mr. Phoenix Wright.
Me? That's preposterous! After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered!
Well, it's true that's how things worked out. But let's remember that Mr. Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Ms. Hawthorne was planning to poison was in fact... you, Phoenix Wright. There's no one else that it can be.
But how can that be? I thought Wright and Miss Hawthorne were love.
Poor Mr. Wright. This must be killing him.
Not like that poison would have. Hey!
Like that crushed up bottle in his stomach right now.
Fucking dumbass.
Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice. And you to the hospital. I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Ms. Hawthorne truly cared about was one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right. The bottle necklace. That's all she cared about.
But even so, why would she go as far to murder him?
8 months ago, just after the fall of that attorney in the basement cafeteria, Dahlia Hawthorne could only think of one thing. How to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible.
No, it can't be.
There's a pretty good motive she made too. The evidence was missing for a long time. But there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, that tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met.
You mean, that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright?
Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence.
That can't be true!
Feeny, what a joke you are.
Damn, she looks a lot different now.
Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me.
Miss Hawthorne!
It appears that we're nearing the end of this trial. Fine, I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say. You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne. We'll see about that. But first, where's your evidence? It seems your sniveling little crybaby of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack. Ugh. Well, Hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face?
Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you?
Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. Judge? Absolutely no proof. You treat a voluntary witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now, if you don't mind.
But we're not finished.
Fine. Then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already. I can't let her get away this time.
Stop, Maya.
Wait, is the butterfly a death motif? What? Risha's just saying she knows the butterfly's a death motif, right? No, please explain it to me more in research.
If you keep pushing for any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer.
The ultimate price?
You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid.
Not my ace attorney's badge. You'd better think it over carefully, Miss Faye. Or should I say, Ms. Gray?
Gray? Well, Miss Faye, can you provide evidence that will establish her guilt once and for all?
If I mess up here, my career as a lawyer is over. But to be honest, at this point I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder. Your Honor, the defense would like to present proof.
Impossible! You can't possibly!
Stupid woman.
It's the opinion of the court that has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be presented.
Just one?
If you're unable to establish her guilt, then I'm afraid that a very harsh verdict will immediately be handed down on Mr. Wright.
I understand, Your Honor.
I can just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar.
She was planning to poison Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there.
Well then, Miss Faye, please present your evidence. To the court, however, if you prove that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison Mr. Wright.
Here it is, Your Honor. The evidence that will prove her guilt once and for all.
Cold Killer X, Phoenix Wright's beloved cold medicine. Hee. Does our rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold?
If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned.
What?
Remember what the defendant said in his testimony?
But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us.
She was the one who took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some.
Now you're really grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine.
I would like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence?
Huh? What are you talking about?
8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle necklace, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room, my client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. That's when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poisoned bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Wright.
I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant.
Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and victim were arguing about and the cut electrical cable. That's when she realized, I can't allow Doug Swallow to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this is when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. On top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. Hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying the bottle of poisoned cold medicine. She must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago?
8 months ago?
Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way as she did back then. She had someone else hold it. In this case, Doug Swallow.
Oh, come on now, everyone. Surely you aren't fooled, are you?
The stupid woman.
She's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, that's exactly right. Just pure desperation.
I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Ms. Hawthorne, this cold medicine, I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some. Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? If I'm just a filthy, stinking liar, then there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of this medicine right now.
The defense has a point. She did dare you. And on top of that, I triple dog dare you.
Mia Fey. Mia Fey?
Oh shit, okay. The butterflies burned!
Think you won? Well, do you, Mia Fey?
The butterflies literally burned up!
That's just fine.
For the time being, victory is yours.
For the time being.
Well, I have a very long memory, you know. And you and I will meet again. I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later too, okay?
Huh? Yes? Why, yes?
I'm going to spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best.
We're gonna deal for again.
Ooh. It's finally all over.
I refuse to accept this! The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support the outrageous claim. But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it. I don't care! I'm Winston Payne! I don't believe one word the rookie lawyer has said!
Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this.
Yes!
Would you care to try this cold medicine?
What?
Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said.
There, it's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust my witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life.
Oh shoot.
So, if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure there couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right?
You see, yes.
And here comes the backpedal. Come now, rookie killer, show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life?
My hair is flying off! My beautiful hair!
Good stuff.
So funny. Oh fuck, my stomach actually hurts. Holy shit.
Oh no, research you were looking forward to.
Oh, that's so good. Did you see his hair fly off, research? Mr. Payne, about Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Yes, you're about to play. I can't.
Tragic, but not surprising.
I knew there was something so you didn't. Thank you,
Don't
Reeves.
lie, just admit you were wrong.
Oh, don't worry. Reeves will post it in the fucking quotes chat, please.
By the way, Miss Faye,
Yes, Your Honor.
was it just me or did you and Miss Dahlia seem to know each other?
Your Honor, whether we did or not has no bearing on this case.
Very well. Miss Payne.
This can't be happening. It's a nightmare. It's like losing to my daughter.
It appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair.
God, that's brutal.
Mia Fey crushed this man, and that's why he's a pathetic, shambling man when you meet him
In the future.
31 and 2. Is Mia Fey just crushed him too hard.
Does the defendant have anything further to say?
It can't be true. My dear doll is true.
Very well then. I believe I'm ready to pass judgment to bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant Phoenix right.
It's titled No More Hair. Fantastic. Thank you.
This court is adjourned. Mia, you were wonderful in there.
Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg. I'm just so glad it's over, and I'll never have to deal with Mr. Phoenix Wright ever again.
Yes, and during the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount Vesuvius. I'm so glad I'll never have to deal with those again.
That's the worst visual, Mr. Grossberg. Do you maybe think you could stop talking about them?
That's rather...
No, it's not. It's the exact opposite. You're being rude.
Anyway, this case really makes me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship with a mutual trust with the client? Perhaps it is we, veteran lawyers, who have lost sight of this.
The power of the law research, that's how it is.
Oh, Mr. Wright. Congratulations on your new trauma.
Thanks. You know, I was thinking.
Go on.
The dolly I saw there at the witness stand, I don't think that was really her.
What?
Yeah, the dolly I know could never have said those kind of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something.
Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably for the best.
Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try to grow up a little.
But out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up.
Ugh, what kind of company does this guy keep?
Well, if it stinks. Right now, I'm starting to become a lawyer myself.
That's what you keep saying. But I thought you were in the art department.
Well, yeah, I am. But there's a friend that I desperately want to help. And if I hurry, then I should be able to save him in time.
I see.
Say, Miss Faye? A lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right?
Mr. Wright, I'm still new at this myself. But I think that's exactly what a lawyer is.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna study my butt off and become a lawyer for sure. I hope we see each other again someday. Maybe even in court.
Highly unlikely. But good luck, kid.
It's been 5 years since I've been acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned and managed to save my friend. But Mia's passed on to a better place. Trapped inside Pearl's body. For the rest of eternity. For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it brings up some precious ones. And memories I thought that would never rise to the surface again. Mia is gone now, but even so I could hear her in my mind.
Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your client. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief.
5 long years. Something has happened that made me think back to her words of wisdom. But there's a story for another day. Next Tuesday, specifically, when we stream Phoenix Wright again! Oh, that's, got it? Godot? Whatever his name is?
No, yeah.
Godot. Save my progress. Yeah, I've been preparing his voice. I know that he likes coffee, but that's about it. So I've been preparing his voice for that. But, oh god. Are we seeing Hawthorne again later on? I don't like how she's just like, I'm gonna see you later, because I think that's very not subtle foreshadowing. I don't like that. How is Hawthorne related to like Maya when she gets murdered in the future, like, or when Maya gets accused of murder again in the future? No, Chip, I only did the first 2 games. I have not done the 3rd game. The 3rd game I'm going near completely blind on.
The secrets.
Yeah, at this point in time, Katie holds all the secrets. I think I did part of the first trial because I remember the hemorrhoids, but that was about it. Like, I've done nothing more in this game. This is all fucking wild to me. I know Godot because I've seen him in comics and some other stuff before, but that's about it. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen next. I'm going to have to make Godot's voice really good. The stolen turnabout. All right. All right, guys. I think that's gonna be it for me today. I want to say thank you very much, and hey, a big thank you, Katie. Thank you for joining in with me today. I hope you had a fantastic time, and I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us and doing some Ace Attorney with us.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
We are going to raid. Let's see who we're going to raid today, Chip. It's a good question. Don't want to raid them. I think I raided them recently. We are going to raid. We will raid. Oh, Esri's playing Harvest Moon, Save the Homeland. I like Harvest Moon, and I love Esri's fungal design. We'll say hi to Esri. She is a Sasha was actually another person I was gonna choose, but I love me some Harvest Moon, so we're gonna raid Esri today. Esri's a fantastic individual. She's a lot of fun. We'll do Sase in the future again for sure. He's doing Sonic Heroes, so if you guys do want to check out Sase, please do check out Sase. He's doing some Sonic Heroes, and that's really cool stuff. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube. Once we hit 100, it's going to be Echo the Dolphin time, baby. Make sure to join the Discord if you haven't already. Make sure to get this raid message copied down. And yeah, I think that's about it from my end. Anything you want to say, Katie?
Stay safe and stay Botanist Cool.
I will see you guys soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And we're golden.